right, hi. I'm Makena, for those who I haven't met. Thanks for being here. I thought we would do a fun sequence today that includes some arm balancing and inverting. So my friends and I are calling this time in quarantine headstand season because we all are just having fun playing with practicing and setting goals for ourselves of arm balances and inversions. And they're just so fun. And I've had a lot of people asking for some tutorials, so I thought I'd incorporate them into a flow. So I think everybody just kind of wants to play right now. So with that said, 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, books work great. We're just bringing the floor kind of closer to us using the block. So a stack of books is good, or like a firm pillow. Yeah, anything that you can find. This is kind of the height that we're looking for. And yeah, that's it. Let's have fun with it. And we're gonna get started in child's pose. So big toes touch, forehead lowers to the mat. For low back release, you can bring the knees closer together underneath the body. And for hip opening, knees can come out wide. Upper body sinks between the knees. Just give yourself a moment to settle into this shape. Beginning to turn the focus in. Just noticing how you're feeling today, how you are arriving on your mat. Inhales will welcome the practice. With the exhales, just release anything beyond your mat. As you shift the focus in, we'll practice Samavritti, a 4-part breath, equal parts, in equal length. So we'll maybe count or just notice that you lengthen the inhale, the pause when the lungs are full, and then the exhale and the pause when the lungs are empty. Just noticing sensations of the breath in the body as you breathe, as you begin to turn in. And if you like to set an intention for your practice, you can do that now also. So if there's anything you like to supplement for your time on your mat, invite that in now with the in-breath. So when I'm doing kind of a more challenging practice, and I know I'm going to fall a lot, I like to set an intention to the parigraha, which is non-attachment. So not worrying too much about the postures themselves, and not being too attached to nailing any certain posture, just more about arriving here on my space, being on my mat, and calming the fluctuations of the mind. That is the yoga. So just set your intention now. Then seal your lips. Our pranayama practice will be ujjayi, so inhales and exhales through the nose. Fire up the breath, find that constriction in the throat. So you should be able to hear yourself as you breathe. Keeping the lips sealed will help us to keep the heat we build in the body. It's also called the victorious or the conscious breath, as it helps us to drown out the thoughts. So fire up in your breath. And then inhale up to a tabletop. So stacking the joints, wrists and elbows under shoulders, knees under hips, neutral spine. Spread out your fingers. And right here with your spine neutral, just lift your navel in and up, Uddiyana Bandha. So keep this core lock engaged throughout our practice. And we'll come right into bird dog pose. So left leg lifts back, right fingertips forward. Long line of energy as you flex that left heel from heel to fingertips. Chin slightly tucked so the spine is long. Inhale. Exhale, tap right elbow to left knee, round the spine. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, tap. Keep moving like this. So pace is just determined by your breath, no right or wrongs. So this will suffice as our cow and cats, engaging and awakening our spine, also getting a little more engagement of our core. Core engagement is super important for all these playful poses. So I'm going to next inhale, lengthen and hold. Bend your left knee, reach for your left foot with your right hand. So maybe you gaze over your right shoulder, maybe not, chin can stay tucked, whatever feels comfortable for your spine. Exhale to release, and we'll switch sides, right leg back. Left fingertips forward, so long line of energy, fingertips to heel, lengthen, inhale, tap and round, exhale. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, tap. Keep moving, inhales bring you to lengthen, exhales round that spine, tuck the chin. Noticing the breath, noticing your belly, keeping that belly engaged. On your next inhale, lengthen and hold. Bend that right knee, reach for the right foot with the left hand. Maybe gaze over the left shoulder, maybe not. Exhale to release. Plank pose, tuck your toes. Long line of energy now from the heels to the crown of the head. So we're kind of squeezing everything here. Belly's engaged. Hips, shoulders, and head are all in line. We're pressing the mat away and puffing up the area between the shoulder blades. So the back of the heart is reaching up to the sky. Imagine you can knit the lower ribs together. Keep breathing. Inhale, shift forward, shoulders over wrists. Exhale, slowly lower all the way to your belly. Use resistance, untuck your toes. Toes, ankles, and knees to touch. Hands under shoulders. Inhale, cobra pose. Lift your heart, chin stays slightly tucked for a long spine. Exhale, lower. Tuck your toes, lift just your knees off the mat. So we're strong in the legs. Inhale into the back of the body. Exhale, push up, plank pose. Downward facing dog, float the hips high. So taking any movement or stillness that feels good to start. Maybe you walk out, pedaling your legs, bending one knee at a time. Maybe you take little twists, looking at the ceiling from underneath one armpit, then switching sides, whatever feels good, eventually arriving in stillness. Getting that sensation of pressing the mat away from the hands and the feet, like you're ripping the mat in half. Sits bones spreading, tailbones lifting. Inhale, shift forward, plank pose. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale your right leg high, three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee to right elbow. Find a little pulse. We're here for 5. Belly engaged for 4. 3, 2, 1. Right leg re-extends. Inhale. Exhale, right foot steps between the hands. Left knee lowers. Inhale your arms overhead. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. So we're opening into the left hip flexor. Shoulders draw away from the ears. Exhale your hands to frame your right foot. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee. Slide your right foot just a little bit underneath your body. We'll take a standing split. Float your left leg up to the sky. So it's early in the practice. Here in standing split, if you're ready for some hops, take a few handstand hops. So a couple key points for handstand hops are we're lifting the gaze. So beyond the tendency is to look in between your hands. Try to lift your gaze to the top of the mat or even beyond it. And then just really focus in on your drishti, that unmoving focal point. Engage your belly. Keep your arms straight. And then instead of, the tendency is just to kick both your legs up and just that desire to get your hips stacked over your shoulders so badly that you're just skipping the part where you're engaging your belly. So we want to just think first of stacking shoulders over wrists, then hips over shoulders, then ankles last. So maybe you just get one leg to float to start, and then eventually your right leg meets it. Or maybe you're just hanging out standing split. Forward fold, exhale, left foot meets your right. Uttanasana, crown of the head reaches towards the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale your arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana, sweep up, look up. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Ground back into all four corners of each of your feet. Adjust your clothing if you need to. Settle into stillness. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips, dive the heart forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Big toes touch, chair pose as you inhale, Utkatasana. So we're sinking the hips low, finding that chair shape. Weights in the heels and in the backs of the legs. So belly's lifting up and in, Uddiyana Bandha engaged. And if this hurts for your arms to be overhead, just extend your arms straight or bring them to your heart. There's no pressure to have your arms anywhere. This is more about firing up our legs. Inhale, sink a little lower and hold. Exhale, hinge at the hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step back to plank pose. Come to the tops of your feet. So you're on your tippy toes, kind of on your toenails here. Don't let your butt sink, so hips, shoulders, and head are all still in line. Keep breathing. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Upward facing dog. So we're still hovering the knees and the hips. Heart's coming through the gate of the arms. Lift the crown of the head. Shoulder blades draw away from the ears. Exhale, down dog. Roll over the toes. Send the hips high. Inhale, your left leg lifts. 3-legged dog. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Find your pulse. Belly engaged for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Re-extend. Inhale. Step up between the hands. Exhale, right knee lowers. Inhale your arms overhead. Urdhva Hastasana, low lunge. Anjaneyasana, not Urdhva Hastasana. So we're opening into that right hip flexor. Sinking the hips low. Shoulders draw away from the ears. Exhale your hands to the mat. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee. Runner's lunge, and then we'll slide that left leg a little bit further underneath the body. Find our standing split. Float the right leg up to the sky. So finding squareness in the hips and shoulders. And again, maybe you stay here and enjoy the stretch, or maybe you're ready for some hops on this side. So again, imagining that you're just engaging your belly. Laser focus on your drishti. Take a few hops. Maybe the focus is just lifting that right leg and letting the left heel come to your left glute. Eventually the left foot will come up and meet the right. Forward fold. Both feet plant, crown of the head reaches towards the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart. So close down your eyes, just feel into your body now that we've taken some movement. Notice any shifts that may have already taken place as we begin the practice. Sensation of breath in the body, and then just come back to this aparigraha. So letting go of any attachment you may have to what has already passed so far, not anticipating what's to come. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips, dive the heart forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Big toes touch, chair pose as you inhale, Utkatasana. Sink your hips low. Recommit to your chair shape. So if you look down, you should be able to see all 10 toes. Maybe lift them off the mat. Draw your hands to your heart and come onto your tippy toes. So sink your hips a little bit lower. So we're strong in the ankles and the knees as we squeeze ankles and knees together. Heels are lifted. Belly's engaged. Use resistance to slowly, slowly lower all the way to a toe squat. So you have 2 options here. You can stay here in the toe squat. I guess 3 options. If you want to engage your balance, you can stay right here. Maybe you close down your eyes and just play around with balancing with your eyes closed. Or if you want a nice passive restorative stretch, you can hinge at your hips, and we'll kind of open the knees, externally rotating them. Then walk your hands super far forward, tuck your chin to your chest. So nice hip opener, nice rounding in the spine, a little restorative shape of the spine. Or our first arm balance of the practice, Bakasana, crow pose. So crow pose to start looks like this. So hands plant from our squat, knees will perch up onto the triceps, the upper arms. You'll lift your gaze, lift your gaze. So the temptation is to look at our feet and see kind of what we're doing. Trust your body, trust your strength. Lift the gaze. And then maybe begin to lean it forward, lifting one toe at a time, maybe both. If you're floating, can you bring your big toes to touch? And if this hurts your triceps, some of my students have told me that this hurts their triceps or their arms, squeeze your triceps then with your knees. So instead of perching right on top, we're squeezing around. A few fun tips or tricks for crow pose to start. Perch your feet on your block. So you're already getting the sensation of floating. Feet are already lifted. And then that may help to get rid of that kind of fear of lifting the feet. Or if you have a fear of falling on your face, which is a super valid fear, come to the crown of your head on your block. Or to your forehead if that's comfortable for your neck, but I like the crown of my head. So again, maybe you stack your knees on your triceps, lift one foot at a time. Really, really, really engage your belly. So your hands are right under your shoulders. More tips. Oh, perching pretty high, like higher than you would think on the backs of the arms. So some people just kind of think they're gonna get right into it, like from this Malasana squat we started in. But it helps some people to really lift your butt pretty high. So get your knees pretty high up on the backs of the arms. And then float. So a moment longer to play around in your Bakasana. Pillow's great for underneath your face if you're worried about falling that way. And if you're super solid in your Bakasana, just bring the big toes to touch. Maybe you're practicing lifting one leg at a time. So we're finding Ekapada Bakasana, one leg Bakasana. So just really laser focus on your drishti. And maybe you lift one leg at a time, and I definitely can't chop while I do that. All right, so a few transitions from Bakasana. We can come right back to our squat, plant hands, step back to down dog. Or if you're wanting something a little more, something fun to play around with, try jumping the legs back or floating the legs back into your chaturanga. So landing with the elbows bent and a halfway push-up. So from crow pose, we'll inhale, puff out the back of the heart. Exhale, float the legs back, landing in our chaturanga, so protecting the shoulders. And flow through your vinyasa. Inhale, find your back bend. And exhale, down dog. Settle back into stillness. Take a child's pose if you need it. Inhale, shift forward. Plank pose. Exhale, forearm plank. Elbows lower under shoulders. So again, belly's engaged. Always, always focus on that core in this practice. Remember to breathe. Three more rounds of breath. Dolphin pose on your next exhale. So we'll be in a down dog on our forearms. You can inch your feet in just a little bit, however is comfortable for you. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale, release it back to the mat. Inhale your left leg high. And exhale, release it back to the mat. Okay, you have three choices here. Child's pose. If you're tired, or pause this video. Take a rest if you need a break. Find child's pose. Or we're lifting one leg at a time, practicing getting that sensation of being upside down on our forearms. Or we'll take some hops into forearm stand or Pinchamayurasana. So for that, reach for opposite elbows with your hands. We want our hands to be, or our elbows to be shoulder width distance. So reach for opposite elbows with your hands, and then extend your arms parallel. Pressing into your hands so your fingers are your brakes. So really like clawing into the mat. Fingers are the brakes when we kick up. So finding our dolphin pose to start. Maybe you just inch your feet in. So again, we're thinking hips over shoulders. Maybe you lift one leg. Maybe you take a nice little gentle hop, belly engaged, as we float up to our forearm stand. So again, we want belly engaged, lifting the gaze up to the fingers. So again, the temptation is to look down, but wherever we bring our gaze in our practice, that's where we're gonna go. So try to lift the gaze to keep your balance. Maybe your feet meet one another as you float, maybe not. If you're solid in your forearm stand, bend your knees, try to find Pincha Mayurasana. So back bend. Someday, my head will reach my toes, but not today. So a few moments to play around with that. Again, so we're just gazing at our fingertips. I'm trying to think of any fun tips I have for Pincha Mayurasana, but I don't really think so. Oh, both sides are super different as you kick up, so try both. For me, my right leg, I like to lift my left leg and float up with my right leg. For some reason, it feels just a little more stable for me. But that's just me, so explore your options here. Oh, also, I'm practicing next to a wall because that makes me feel a little more stable. So if I felt a little less stable in this shape, I would bring my fingertips to face the wall, find dolphin pose, and then kick up, knowing that I have the wall to support me, and I'm not going to fall forward. Okay, let's all meet in a child's pose. Take your time getting there. Check back in on your breath. Slow the heart rate by lengthening the breath. Check back in on your intention. Walk your hands forward, tuck your toes, send your hips high, downward facing dog. So we'll take 3 hops up to our hands. So eventually we'll meet in a forward fold. If you want, take some handstand hops. So we're taking a nice deep bend in the knees, coming to the tippy toes, lift your gaze. And again, we're just thinking to start, and maybe this looks low impact, you're just kicking one butt cheek at a time with your heels. That's a great start. Maybe you're kicking both butt cheeks at a time, little donkey kicks. Or for a little more, we're thinking again, stacking shoulders over wrists, then hips over shoulders, legs are last. So maybe you keep your legs bent as you hop up. Keeping the arms straight will help you here. And on your third hop, hopping up to the wrist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Big toes touch, chair pose as you inhale. Sink it low. Hands draw to your heart. Inhale, lengthen in your spine. Exhale, twist to your right. So left elbow hooks to the outside of the right knee. The left hip and knee are going to want to slide forward here, so try to bring them back in line with the right hip and knee. Maybe you stay here, maybe you open your arms, get a little deeper into the twist. Or arm balance time. Hands, so a couple ways to get into side crow. From here, we're just going to plant the hands, perch up onto our upper arms with our kind of right thigh and butt and hip, like we did before. Or you can come into a toe squat, take a twist, plant your hands, and kind of perch up onto the elbow. So traditionally, when we practice side crow, say we're twisting to the right, we're bouncing only on our left elbow. But to start, balance on both elbows. Make it a little bit easier for yourself. So as you twist, plant your hands, perch the legs up onto your upper arms. So this is a pretty deep twist into your torso. And then really perching nice and high up onto your triceps or your upper arms. Again, we're just lifting the gaze. And I have a block right under my head. So maybe that's going to help me get a lift in my feet. Or, like we did with crow pose, you can bring a block underneath your feet. So you're already getting the sensation of being perched. And if you're solid in your side crow, there's a few more things you can do from there. So if you're solid, we'll stay here for a moment to balance. Maybe you extend both legs straight. So a few things you can do from here. Extend both your legs straight. Maybe you switch your legs and kind of come into an Ekapada Kunanyasana shape, which I can only do sometimes, but I'll try to demo it. There. Or we can come into fallen angel. So from side crow, grounding into the right side of your head, kind of like your temple, extending one or both legs up to the sky. Or maybe you take a little chaturanga jump back from your side crow. So again, inhale, puff out the back of the heart. Exhale, unwind as you float the legs back. Oh my gosh, I'm out of breath. We'll all come back to our twisted chair. So if you're playing around with your side crow, take as much time as you want. We'll all come back to our chair pose in that little twist, so left elbow to right knee. Gaze down at your right big toe, become light in your left leg, and take a light step back. So now we're in a twisted crescent. So find your adjustments as you need to. Send some energy into your left leg. So left kneecap lifts up into the leg, kind of getting the sensation of squeezing muscle to bone. Inhale, unwind, arms come overhead, high crescent lunge. So I'm on my left tippy toes, left heel stacked over left palm. Now right knee is over right ankle. Exhale, airplane the arms, send the heart forward, strong in the core and in the legs. Re-extend, inhale. Warrior two, exhale, left toes pivot open. So right knee stacked over right ankle, right knee's opening towards right pinky toe. Outer left edge of your left foot is grounding, so we're loading into the pinky edge of the left foot. Inhale, reverse warrior. Right hand comes up and overhead. Stay committed to the bend in the right knee. Stay here for the exhale. Inhale, star pose. Feet come parallel. Arms extend overhead. Bring our toes slightly in, heels slightly out. Inhale, puff out your chest. And exhale, hinge at your hips with a flat back, Prasarita Padottanasana. So we're in a wide leg forward fold now. So we have lots of options here. Obviously lots of options to invert as we're kind of already in an inversion with the crown of the head reaching towards the earth. And that's important too. With the crown of the head reaching towards the earth, you are getting all the benefits of an inversion. So don't feel like you have to invert every time I cue it. But if you want to, then that's why you're here, then let's do it. So a few options from here. As you can see, my head doesn't quite come to the floor. So when I want to come into a tripod headstand from here, I'll plant my hands pretty close to my feet. So we're kind of going to make 90-degree angles with the elbows and make a pretty wide triangle base between my head and my hands. So I'm going to bend the knees enough to where the crown of the head comes to the mat. Draw my hands kind of towards my feet, so I'm making a pretty wide base. And out of my peripherals, I can see that I'm in 90-degree angles from my shoulder to my elbow, and then from my elbow to my wrist. So I'm going to bend my knee. Well, lots of ways to do this. I think the easiest is bending the knees. So the knees will kind of perch up on the triceps. Think of crow pose, Bakasana. And then I'll draw my big toes to touch, just like Bakasana. And then I'll draw my knees together, using the strength of my core, to the center of my chest. So you can hear my voice got a little shaky because now I'm engaging my core. So my knees are to my chest, just like floating with the strength of my core. Then maybe you lift one leg at a time, or maybe you lift both. And important to note in headstand too, if you are losing your balance, I think you're gonna fall, tuck and roll. So we're tucking the chin to the chest. We're kind of gonna somersault out. Don't do it if you don't have to though, so I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, if you feel like you're gonna lose your balance, tuck your chin to your chest, just do a little roll, protect your neck. I like to get into my headstand, or I like to when I was starting, from that kind of rounding of the spine that I was showing, that crow pose kind of shape, because it really gets me to engage my core right off the bat. So belly button is in and my kind of getting the sensation of knitting my ribs together. I think that helps me to get my core really engaged and then focus on straightening up. So I think a lot of people just want to straighten right out, and then that's where they lose their balance, is in the arching of the back. So kind of start with that rounding and see how that feels. A few other ways to get into headstand while we're here. So we'll come back to this shape, or if you're floating right now, go girl or boy, keep floating. So we're gonna bring crown of the head to the mat, and even though like I said before, the crown of my head doesn't just naturally come to the mat, that's okay. So we're gonna just plant the hands, shift the weight into the into the toes and into the fingertips. So now my heels are lifted, my hands are close to my feet, so I have that wide base. I'm just gonna engage my core to lift my feet. So all this is an engagement of the core and a stacking of the hips. And then we're gonna just lift the legs up. And again, one thing as we float too is to draw shoulders away from the ears. So we're not crunching the neck. This should not feel like, you shouldn't have any pinching or any compression in the neck. So the shoulders and the arms are doing a lot of the work. And to come out, same way we came in, we just straddle, use the core to slowly lower. And also while we're here, I'll just give one more little tip for a tripod headstand is we'll come to our shape with our strong wide base, triangle base, and then we'll just inch the toes in, and then lift one leg at a time. So getting the sensation of stacking shoulders and hips, and never kicking into headstand. I think that's kind of scary and dangerous. Just coming to your tippy toes with the opposite foot, and then as you lift one leg, the other leg will kind of follow. Maybe this is where you stay. This is a great start. Or maybe you draw your heel to your glute, kind of knee to your chest, and then straighten. Or you just pike the legs, engaging the belly, and lifting one or both at a time. So again, that's just all core strength. So lots of different variations. Again, just play around with it. You might surprise yourself. And any work you put in, you're gonna improve. That's the most fun part about this practice, is you really progress, you get to see your progress, and the work that you put in pays off, and it's super fun. So let's come back to our wide leg fold. So crown of the head reaches towards the earth. Release any tension in your neck from that headstand. Inhale the head, yes. Exhale the head, no. Hands under shoulders, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let's pivot all of our toes back to face the top of our mat. And then come onto your ball mound of your left foot and hinge in the hips. So maybe your heels lifted, square the hips, just in kind of the variation of a pyramid pose. So our right leg is straight, our right foot is flat. And we're just hinging at the hips. And we're kind of squeezing the thighs together. So getting that scissoring of the legs and the hips square, the low back square. And let's come into a runner's lunge. So we'll come to the ball mound of the left foot, hands to frame the right. And then float back to a three-legged dog. So right leg re-extends. So from here, you can just step right back to down dog. You can roll through a three-leg vinyasa, or if you want yet another inversion, we'll pair on with a chin stand. So from a three-legged dog or a three-legged kind of plank thing, a three-leg vinyasa is a fun way that I like to get into chin stand. So with your blocks to start, middle fingers will graze, so blocks are shoulder distance. Middle fingers will graze the blocks here. I hope you can see that. And then our chin is going to lower to the mat. So we're gazing forward, and our shoulders are resting on the blocks. So as I cued it, we're from three-legged dog. Inhale, shifting into plank, kind of lowering your chin and shoulders. And then we can inch our toes in, float that right leg. And then engaging your core, obviously. You can float. So this kind of requires a little kick. And as you practice, that gets easier. And this isn't, you're going to surprise yourself with this one too. It's a little bit easier than it looks. So So I like to do, if I like to do a fun, funky 3-leg vinyasa, it's usually like this. So with our right leg up, we inhale. Exhale, shift into our plank. Lower the chin, and now my shoulders are hovering. I'll kick up into my chin stand. And then exhale, lower to my upward facing dog. Inhale, maybe lift the gaze. Then exhale, down dog, roll over the toes. Okay, let's do that all again on the other side. 3 handstand hops. Eventually maybe even a forward fold. You're definitely going to fall during this practice. It's all good. From our forward fold, halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Big toes touch, chair pose, Utkatasana. Sink into your chair shape, draw hands to heart. Lengthen in your spine, inhale. Take your twist to the left, exhale. So right elbow to the outside of the left knee. We're sinking hips lower than the heart. Right knee and hip are sliding forward now, bring them back in line. And then same thing. Maybe you open the arms, just engage the twist. Maybe we take side crow, remembering all of those tips and tricks and engagements from the other side. And both sides are super different here too. So you're either coming from our twist, planting the hands, perching the legs and floating. Or maybe you're coming from a toe squat, hands drop to heart, take your twist, plant your hands, and find your balance. And again, lots of options from there. You can explore fallen angel, you can explore straightening the legs and then switching them into Ekapada Kunayasana, or you can explore floating the legs back into Chaturanga. So a few moments to play around with that. We'll all come back into our twisted chair. So as you're ready, sit into your chair, take your twist. Gaze at your left big toe. Become light in the right foot. Big step back, so we're in a twisted crescent. Find your adjustments. Energize into that right knee. Pressing the hands together, drawing the hands closer to the heart. Inhale your arms overhead, unwind high crescent lunge. Find your adjustments and stillness. Warrior 2, exhale. Right toes, pivot open. So finding all of our same adjustments, shoulders draw away from the ears. Left knee opens left. We're loading into the outer right edge of our right foot. Inhale, reverse warrior. Stay here for the exhale. Stay committed to the bend in that left knee. Inhale, star pose, become parallel, arms extend overhead. And exhale, hinge at the hips. So we are back in our wide leg forward fold. So another moment to play around with headstand. I've been really enjoying and not succeeding, technically, but I'm really having fun trying to hop into handstand from here. So if you are super confident in your headstand from here and you want to play around, I'm going to face this way so I have the wall. So again, we're straight in the arms, we're lifting the gaze. We just shift the weight into the fingertips. Fingertips are the brakes. And we'll just take a few hops, similar to how it looks from to go into a headstand from here. There's the wall. So we're just taking hops or floating. And maybe our hops just look like this, bending the knees kind of look like a little flailing happy baby. Again, that's a great start. And we all have to start somewhere. So a few moments to play with your inversion. We'll all come back eventually to our wide leg forward fold. Shake it out. Inhale the head, yes. Exhale the head, no. Hands under shoulders, halfway lift, inhale. And forward fold, exhale, hinging all of our toes back to the top of the mat. So we're on the ball mount of our right foot. Left foot is flat, left leg is straight. We're in that variation of pyramid pose. Hinging in the hips. Awareness and breath is in the hips and the hamstrings. And blocks are great here too. Good, runner's lunge. So we're lengthening the stance on the right ball mound, left knees over left ankle, three-legged dog inhale, left leg floats back up to the sky. Same thing, you can take your three-leg vinyasa, or you can take a little three-leg vinyasa with a kick up into chin stand, if that's serving you today, if you want to play on this side. So again, we're just shifting forward, lowering the chin, and taking our little kick. I've never tried to talk in chin stand before, and it's not easy. So do that, and we'll all meet in a downward dog. Anchor back into your shape and back into your breath. Noticing how the body feels. Letting go of any attachment you may have been carrying with you in this practice or that may have arisen. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, find your back bend. And exhale, downward dog. Bend your knees and look forward, 3 hops up to our forward fold. Leaning in our forward fold, halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale, malasana. Heel toe your feet out. So we're in our yogi squat. Feet are flat, elbows are opening the knees, and we're lengthening into the spine. So this is a super grounding and aligning shape. So anytime you bring the root of the spine close to the earth like this, you're grounding and aligning. Just imagine you can lift energy from the root of the spine out through the crown of the head. Heart is open, mula bandha is engaged. We're lifting the area between the pelvic, or between the sits bones. That pelvic area is lifting in and up. Then you know, I'm going to give you some options from here. So you can stay right there in Malasana if you're enjoying this stretch. If you are playing around with Bakasana, crow pose, spend some more time here. So from our Malasana, we're just hinging forward into float. Titibasana is something that I'm working on, but I'm happy to try demoing it for you. So we'll hinge at the hips, lift the hips a little bit so the hands come to the, kind of your fingertips will come to graze your heels. And we're really going to perch up onto our shoulders. I like to just inch my toes forward, lean my weight back, and then try to float. And I always end up falling on my butt. And I think for me, personally, it's just an issue of openness in my hips and hamstrings. So I typically tend to pretty tight hips and hamstrings. But you might surprise yourself with that. So if you have a pretty strong wide leg stance, maybe you're floating right now. Good job if you are. Maybe you're playing around, and that's great too. So kind of going to do our last little moments here in Malasana. One final option for Malasana I'll give is a traditional head stance on our forearms. So hands will interlace. We'll cradle the crown of the head. And we're bringing our elbows, again, reaching for opposite elbows, the width of the shoulders. And we'll tippy-toe the feet forward, lifting one foot at a time, maybe both. So belly is engaged, shoulders are drawing away from the ears. And this is really about the strength of the arms and of the support of the forearms. So you should be able to kind of hover your head if you can, or get that sensation so we're not crunching into the neck. Like maybe could slide a little piece of paper underneath your head as you float. We'll all meet back in our Malasana. As you exhale, sit back onto your butt. Soles of the feet will touch. Inhale, lengthen in your spine. And exhale, hinge at the hips. Tuck your chin to your chest. Nice rounding of the spine, nice restorative shape. Release some tension from the neck, from your shoulders and your hips. Inhale to sit back up, extend your arms overhead. And exhale slowly, one vertebrae at a time, lower to your back. Supta Baddha Konasana. So bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. And just settle into stillness, noticing any shifts that may have taken place for you in this practice. Let's take a bridge pose. Release some tension in the spine, a little back bend. So as your hands come to your sides, middle fingers graze your heels. Inhale, lift up. Bridge pose. Maybe you interlace your hands underneath your sacrum or reach for ankles or heels. And exhale, lower one vertebrae at a time. Take a happy baby. Reach for your feet. Draw your knees up towards your shoulders. Low back stays to the mat, chin slightly tucked so the spine and neck can be long. And now just exploring this feeling of being a happy baby. So the sensations of the breath in the body in this shape, maybe exploring movement or stillness, maybe rocking side to side or straightening one leg and then the other. We'll eventually just settle into stillness in our happy baby. We'll invite some santosha to the front of our mind, so some contentment, satisfaction, and gratitude. So whatever happened for you in this practice, just bring some gratitude and contentment. And we're just here in happy baby, grateful that we are safe in our home, in our body, that we can play and move our body and practice these silly things, all to calm the mind, really, and to find some kind of peace. We'll bring the soles of the feet to touch. Come back to Supta Baddha Konasana. Maybe you stay here for your Shavasana, or maybe you let your legs go long and find corpse pose. So toes fall open from the heels, backs of the hands to the mat, shoulder blades slightly tuck underneath the heart. Just send softness into any final space that you may still be holding tension. So your eyebrows, your eyelids, your jaw. I do really urge you to stay here in stillness as long as you can. You put in all this work of your asana and your pranayama, your breath and the postures, all in preparation for this peace and this calm that you can create within yourself. So I'm going to end my video here, and I hope that you can hang out in Shavasana as long as you can. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please let us know any requests that you may have for these videos, and we'll see you online. Namaste.